So tonight, I'd like to talk about freedom. More to the point, I'd like to talk about how we cultivate more tolerance for liberation. I like Marianne Williamson's poem. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. As we let our own light shine, as we are liberated from our fear, our presence automatically liberates others. What I hear her talking about is metta, this idea of how love is quite the liberator in our lives. So I believe that freedom is the driving force in spiritual practice. The desire to be liberated and to rest in our own skin is part of that intention. And the beautiful thing about the Buddha is that he said, I teach one thing only, the end of suffering. And the end of suffering is liberation. So the Buddha gifted us with a body of knowledge, which is the Dharma, which includes a path to freedom, which is the Eightfold Path. And he also provided a technology, which is mindfulness, which is a way that we can experience freedom directly. So this marriage of the Dharma and using mindfulness as a way to have a direct experience can lead to more liberation. Core to liberation is an understanding of the wisdom paths and the Eightfold Path, and that is right view and right intention. Inside of right view, which is the first of the Eightfold Paths, which is also the beginning of the path as well as the end of it, that view is about the recognizing aspect of wisdom. It's being able to see through the eyes of understanding what we're looking at. So when the Buddha talks about liberation, I believe what he's pointing to is that we can begin to see the world in a way, or see things in our lives, and be liberated in those moments, even though things are happening that we don't like. So right view is about understanding and seeing things clearly. And it's about the Four Noble Truths, which is there is suffering, there's a cause to suffering, which is being attached. There is an end of suffering, which is about letting go. And there's a way to get there, which is the Eightfold Path. Also in right view is the three characteristics, and understanding that things are impermanent, that there is suffering. So it's not the suffering that's the issue, it has to do with our relationship to suffering. And that the moment we hold tight to any sense of a self, we can experience suffering. So the idea of non-self or non-identification with the things that come and go in the world is a view in the tradition that helps us understand that we can be liberated. And then the second of the Eightfold Path is right intention. And right intention is about a commitment to ethical and mental self-improvement, compassion, and also of renunciation. And renunciation does not mean that we're giving up things in the world, but that we deeply understand that they go away. So right view and right intention is wisdom paths that help us understand that when we are in our practice, we are looking through the eyes of these views. It's not just sitting on the cushion and saying, I want to be liberated, but an understanding that that impermanence is things come and go, that suffering happens, and our relationship to suffering matters, and that anything we hold tight to is going to be a form of suffering. So we bring to the cushion these wisdoms, and it becomes our practice. So the inquiry is, what views or intentions do you bring to your practice when you sit down? What are the assumptions that you're making? What is the view that you're actually witnessing your experience through? And a question you can begin to ask without looking for an answer is, what matters to me? What matters to me? What matters to you? And again, you don't need to do anything with that question, and notice with gentle awareness what comes up for you. Now, mindfulness is a technology that allows us to experience freedom directly. Bhante Gunaratana, who is one of the teachers I had in the Vipassana tradition, he says the very purpose of mindfulness meditation is to liberate the mind from psychic irritation and to enjoy the peace and happiness of liberation. That's the whole point of mindfulness. So liberation is experienced in the body and mind. It's not a concept, and it's not something that we can experience if it's outside of us. We can't depend on something outside of us necessarily to have an experience of liberation, not a lasting one. The Buddha said, in this fathom-long body, a whole universe is revealed. All creation, all destruction, all suffering, and all liberation. So mindfulness is the practice of embodied presence. It is the practice of relaxing and vast receptivity, where we open to our body as a sea of sensations. We shift from an over-identification with what we're experiencing in our mind to gently observing the body and mind patterns.